Good
What's up,
evening.
everybody? Whoops, sorry.
Oh, good evening, all you minties, and welcome back to another episode of Reelz Talks. Reelz Talk with
What
your
is in
host,
that mug?
the amazing Amanda, and my lovely co-host, the Uncanny Omar.
Hi, I am the Uncanny Omar, and today we're going to be talking about a couple of shows and then talking about movie news and stuff like that. Say, thank you so much for liking. Yeah, smash the
Yes,
like button if
never
you're
mind.
here.
Thank you.
Yes, this is we're trying to get back to our regular Wednesday schedule, so probably next
Yeah.
week we'll be reviewing the Black Adam movie around this time. If you want to join us for that. And before we go ahead and get started, though, there are going to be talks of spoilers for Rings of Power Season 1 and
Mhm.
for House of Feet Season 1 episode.
It's not
No.
House of Feet. Only one person
Yeah,
likes
it definitely was. All right. You saw Happiness Ring. It was the feet. That's what did it. Happiness. What's up, Andrew Rodriguez? Good evening, William Lee.
Hello, William.
First to say seventh like, what's up, Josh? Are we sure this is gonna be Omar or it's Melanie dressing up as Omar? It's definitely Omar.
Yes.
And the artist formerly known as Jesse Say What.
Oh, nice. I like that. Jesse Say What. That's awesome.
All right, so let me start the banner here in a second so we can go ahead and start because we are going to be talking about the entire season and reviewing it, and that is Rings of Power, which we did some of the episodes on.
Yeah, I think we did up to episode 4 or 5, I think. And then, so I think we did up to 4 or 5, which actually works out really well because this is one of those shows, in my opinion, and maybe not for everyone, that I feel like it does better to review the whole entirety of the season versus episode by episode, because I feel like sometimes in some episodes, not a lot happens to really give it a good review. So I'm glad we're getting to do this where we can wrap it up and just talk about Amazon's first outing with the Lord of the Rings properties that they have acquired. And the more that, especially this last episode, the final episode, you realize, how much they can and cannot use because they do not have the rights to things like the Silmarillion, right? And
but they do have the rights to The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, and that gives them a lot of wiggle room.
A lot of wiggle room to adapt and to take liberties with storylines, which they definitely did in the last few episodes. Mainly whether or not Isildur is alive, which would be a big departure from
so stupid.
the ring lore, and who exactly was Sauron when he came to Celebrimbor. I did look this up because I got myself into some chat, fighting back and forth.
No, you did not. Why are you defending?
People were mad that they didn't use his name from the Silmarillion, Anatar, but it's not listed as far as I can see in Lord of the Rings, and then the appendices, they have a timeline of the Rings of Power or the making of the rings, and they just say Sauron helped the elves make the rings. So they don't even say his fake name. That all comes later in the history that he made with the Silmarillion and all that stuff. So I see now why they used Halbrand and why they had to go a slightly different route in that respect.
Okay. So, yeah. I mean, if it is true that they're taking a lot of liberties with this, then, I mean, that is something that we've seen since the first episode. And to recap, in case you didn't watch our earlier reviews, I kind of poked fun at the bad writing, the bad dialogue that was in the first episode, especially with the boat and why it sinks and why it floats. And I was like, oh my God, what am I watching? A lot of that has to do with the fact that they aren't borrowing from books, right? Like it's more like, not that he had the greatest dialogue, and a lot of the most memorable lines, right, are from the movies that were kind of not really ad-lib, but added for the movies that were not in the book. But with this, they had nothing. This is more like a historical, like, here's how this happened, here's how this happened. There's no dialogue. So I had a lot of issues with the first few episodes and the dialogue and the story. So the last half of this was pretty interesting and dull as well. So,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it is one long story. How many episodes was this?
It was 8 episodes total.
So 8 episodes. We're talking about probably the equivalent of what, 7.5 hours.
Yes, exactly.
So if this is like a 7.5 hour movie, wow, what a long movie.
Yeah. It's
Um,
they tried to stretch out The Hobbit into 3
They
movies.
did, and that was miserable. I've yet to rewatch The Hobbit. I saw them in the theater. I enjoyed the first one for what it was. Hobbit 2 and 3 just did not do it
Yes.
for me. But Lord of the Rings is like top 10 favorite movie of all time. All those.
Yes.
With this one, they introduce a lot of characters, and then we finally start seeing some of these stories come together and intertwining. And it's not until I think about episode 7 that we actually start seeing something happen, and
Yeah.
we start seeing some fighting. We start seeing some big.
Yeah. Well, episode 6, because episode 6 is where the actual battle occurs, right? And then where Mordor, or where Mount Doom finally erupts, because the Blade of Morgul, I think maybe that's what we're alluding that to. I'm not sure. The Witch King of Angmar's blade, maybe that's what that is. I don't really know. But that's what unlocks the dam, which then flows into Mount Doom, creating it to erupt. And then we get the creation of Mordor in episode 7. And then that leads us here to our finale in episode 8, where it is revealed that, well, that Halbrand is actually Sauron. The stranger is not Sauron, even though those white.
I did like that. I thought
we did.
Well, I thought they were gonna make him Sauron. I'm like, oh, cool. They're gonna make this dude into a villain. No, they did not.
No, I think instead they're gonna make him into Gandalf, which I'm hoping maybe he's Saruman instead. But he actually, by the end of that episode, he said the follow your nose, which is a Gandalf
thing to say, and also Sam.
Yes, they played it. I think I was watching a like how it's like the Lord of the Rings, and they actually played the same clip in the Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, when they're in the Mines of Moria. Mm-hmm. And he realized where they were supposed to go because of the smell. And he says, when in doubt, follow your nose. And it's like, okay. So I guess we're hinting that this will be Gandalf, which, he doesn't come until the Third Age. But again, they're taking liberties with it. And he doesn't, I don't remember him going to Rune or to the east, that far east. The Blue Wizards went that far east, but maybe he's a Blue Wizard. Maybe he's not Gandalf at all. We don't know. We won't know until next season. But we are at least we're getting rid of the Hobbit storyline or the Harfoots, and now it's just him and Nori on their adventure.
Well, so very much like the Hobbit, right? They go on adventures.
Yes.
And they go solo. So
okay,
so we shared what we thought about our the first half of this. What did you think about the second half? Like, as the series progressed, as we got to know more, because long story short, then we'll go into a little more details. I was bored a lot, and I don't remember episodes. Like, I can't tell you the difference between episodes 5 and 6. I can't remember what stood out. There were a couple of things that happened, but what?
And that I think is I think that right there is the issue. So by episode 4 is, I think, where I don't remember. I think we left off at episode 4 when when Galadriel's finally in Numenor, and Numenor started to make it interesting for me, because here we have men are inherently flawed. We don't have the elves, who are supposed to be these wise, creatures. We don't have the dwarves, who can't kind of stick to themselves in the mountains. And we don't have these jolly good old Harfoots. We actually have flawed characters who make mistakes. Yes, we have them in the Southlands, but the Numenor are stuff of legend, right? They're the descendants of Aragorn. They're these greater men, and what their history is in Lord of the Rings. It made me excited to see them finally on screen, because I'm excited to see the downfall of Numenor at some point, which, of course, they hinted at that in this season very heavily with the Palantir and the King. But the season for me, once we started, again, it always comes to when you start getting characters together, that's when the story starts to pick up. And I think once we finally got past the whole hem-hawing around of whether or not Numenor is going to help Middle Earth and going to take some troops and go fight. And we finally get them to the Southlands, which I don't know what travel time looks like in the Rings of Power, but it's reminiscent to me of maybe time travel or traveling time in Game of Thrones season 7 and 8. It's just kind of very fast. It happens very quickly, which is fine. Well, not really, but once they started to pick it up, I enjoyed it a little bit more. But again, I still felt there was something missing out of that back half. Like, for example, the last episode, the reveal of Sauron or Halbrand being Sauron, it all happens in one episode. I feel like he should have been there sooner working with Celebrimbor. It shouldn't have all happened in the span of like 20 minutes. Galadriel goes from trusting him to not trusting him and revealing that he's Sauron. Like,
Okay.
that's just crazy to me. They spent all this time hem-hawing around in Numenor and all that stuff just to rush that ending, which is the most important thing of this entire.
I didn't see it coming, honestly. I did not see that Halbrand was going to turn into Sauron. I mean, obviously, I saw the coming of Mordor, and I assumed that's going to be Gandalf, but that I didn't see coming, and it might be because I wasn't paying attention, and I did try. Or it could have been that the writing wasn't there, and they revealed all of this at the end of episode 8, which is kind of a problem with streaming media. It's different than having a show come out every week. Streaming media seems to have a formula for giving you little bit, and then the last season it's like, oh, here's everything you were supposed to know and everything you needed to know. And it's almost like a little too much, and you wish that they have a better working formula. And it doesn't help that the writing here seems very amateurish, if you will. Ring of Power better than Andor.
I think someone said it best. I think Nikki Cunningham said it best, where it felt like a bunch of drama students. And Nikki, I can't find your comment. Yeah, there we go. Trying to sound deep. I really do appreciate that comment, because it is hard to write fantasy. It's hard to write fantasy in the way Tolkien would write fantasy, right? The dialogue and things like that. Many can do it, and I don't know if I don't know what the process was they went through to, like, they said the Tolkien estate. I don't even know how they felt about watching this. And I mean, at this point, Christopher Tolkien, he's passed away, isn't he? His son.
Yeah, he passed away a couple of years ago.
Yeah, so it's not like any original of the Tolkien, it's grandchildren and things like that. So, it's really hard to capture that in dialogue. So I was really interested when we were first going into the series, how are they going to make it sound like Tolkien? And by the end of it, basically they're stealing little lines here and there so that they're almost like a fan service for the fans. But it takes so long at this point. I'm like, when he slips in and when he tells Galadriel she could be the foundation of the earth, right? A queen that's strong and beautiful. I was like, oh, okay. I remember that scene, which was way more powerful in Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, when she was telling Frodo that she would be stronger than all the foundations of the earth. But cool, she got it from Sauron. It didn't come from her.
I'll be honest. Okay, as much as I did not like The Hobbit, it still felt like Lord of the Rings. There was something, I'm not even going to say New Zealandish about The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. I know. But I feel like something big was missing here. This didn't feel like Lord of the Rings or that kind of world. I mean, there are aspects of it there, but to me, I don't know. I couldn't really see that that had anything to do with Tolkien. Just here and there. Like, if I was watching this without knowing that this was tied into The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings, it really felt like just a fantasy show. And not
it very well could have been like the Harfoots, could have been Willow, for all I know.
Hey, easy on Willow.
I love Willow. I'm just saying, you're right. Like, a lot of people, bashed character design, things like that. But there is something to be said for, and it's hard because we've already seen it well adapted once, correct? And of course, The Hobbit, Jackson was, last minute he had to come in because Guillermo del Toro was like, he didn't want to stay and deal with this with the studios and everything like that. Especially when the studio's like, you have to make it 2 movies, and then they made it 3 movies. And
Oh my gosh.
yes, it was a nightmare. But because I think the reason The Hobbit still felt like Lord of the Rings is it still had Peter Jackson at that helm, which is where we don't have these original showrun or the original producers and things like that from the original trilogy to help give it that feel. We are way further earlier in the timeline, and they changed the designs of like the elves. I don't see elves deciding all of a sudden they want to grow their hair. Like some of them are going to keep their hair short, and some of them are going to grow their hair out. And I know we haven't seen the whole world either in the Lord of the Rings trilogies, but
I will say I do like the look of the orcs and
of
the goblins in this more than I did the look of what were the wolves called? The wolves are awesome in this. The wargs, right? Yeah. I don't know how I feel about the elves and everything else. Like,
I felt like the dwarves had.
I feel like everything was such a missed opportunity. It felt like we're gonna spend so much money on this show. So I was expecting a lot more like episode 6. I was expecting huge battles. I was expecting huge sets. I was expecting at least 50 dwarfs in one room with armor, cheering and talking, and I didn't get that. Not even elves. It's just a couple of elves talking in one room that all looks green. With the white. With that white glowy thing that you got going on in the background of your
it's my halo.
Yeah. Like that's what every shot felt like in Rivendell. Or I'm sorry, not Rivendell, but like now there were sets that were built because the Numenor was huge, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
There were some, you could see where a lot of the money went, but it still felt like something is missing, and I don't know exactly what it was. And maybe it's because we've had years of movies trying to copy that Lord of the Rings feel, and some have done it better than this.
Yes, that's true. And I think a lot of it has to do with, we had these competing storylines, and so you didn't get the chance to really, I think I would have liked to see not focusing on so many storylines, for example. With like creating an inner turmoil battle between Prince Duron and his father, like creating this drama that didn't, we don't know if it existed, but he still becomes king. He's never like removed from his position, like to create all that drama when we could have been focusing more on Halbrand getting to Middle Earth, Halbrand meeting up with the elves, and the exploration of power and what it means, and then the development of the rings. All of that could have meant so much more if that was more of the focus. It's called the Rings of Power, and we barely talk about them until
no, we got a song at the end, okay? We got a song.
Yeah, the song
that's better than Tom Bombadil singing.
No, it's not better than Billy Boyd singing Home is Behind. Nothing makes me cry more than that.
Really? Into the West for me. But
well, okay. West, but still. But yeah, that's what I feel like they have missed opportunity on what they could focus on. Like they wanted to show us it's Middle Earth because we still have hobbits, even though they're not really hobbits yet. We didn't need hobbits just because they exist. Just because the Harfoots are a thing and they exist didn't mean we had to have them in the Rings of Power. Like
sure, but you want recognizable characters. Oh, those are dwarves. Oh, those are elves. Oh, the little people, which aren't really little here.
No,
like, I don't know if it's the angles or what they're doing, but these aren't little folk like they are in Lord of the Rings. By the time
they don't use that force
perspective
Jackson used. What I know, right. Of course, I know they haven't. I think it's just a matter of the way they were filming it, and Peter Jackson did it so well in the trilogy, right?
Yes, the intro has 15 plus producers represented, not one actor. That is a problem. Too many cooks. Absolutely, because I think everybody has their own vision. Everybody thinks this is the way we should go. And everybody, of course, answers to the board and of committee, and money speaks. I don't even know how they're going to get their money back from this. I assume they're going to use up all those Amazon bags that have Rings of Power on them.
The boxes and the wrapping that I keep getting in the mail.
Now, this show, to clarify something, this show was getting a lot of hate before it even started. This show was getting a lot of hate because
for the wrong reasons that really shouldn't be,
Yeah, no, I get as a freaking nerd, like I understand some things have to change because of the times we're living in, but
Mhm.
as a nerd, when it comes to this kind of stuff, bro, I've talked about it. I'm like, we're not gonna talk about where the black hobbits went, like by the
Yeah.
time the hobbit comes around, because I think that's important. Like things like that. But yeah, this show was getting so much hate for that. And I feel like that wasn't the case in 2000 when everybody was excited about the Lord of the Rings finally coming out. People that had never read the book, like the level of excitement, because I remember that being one of the first things that kind of blew up on the internet before,
Yeah, when
YouTube.
Fellowship came out, yeah, people who weren't even
1990, was it 99 or 2000? No, it was 2000. 2000.
2000, yeah, 2003 is when Return of the King came out.
Yeah,
So
so it was 2001, 2002, 2003, but the trailer dropped in 2000 and people were just nuts. And now it was like at first poster, people were like, "Oh, this is the most horrible thing they could do with Lord of the Rings." And we went into it with an open mind.
yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
but it was just
Because I mean, I don't like I think about the House of the Dragon, they made changes in the race of certain characters, and it just makes something way more obvious in that some people are not some people's children. But other than that, I don't really care. It didn't affect me. Yeah, we've got 4 more seasons to find out where they spent their money. That's what I keep thinking of is, are they trying to lead up to, of course, the last alliance between elves and men, right?
Mhm.
That whole final battle. Is that what we're leading up to? Is that where all the money is going to end
I
up
really, I mean, I really hope we get the throw it into the fiery seal door. Like, how do we not have that? Like, so we
Yeah.
needed Sildor alive. We gave it hate because we knew this would happen. When the books all have the same cover, you start to judge them before you read it. I try not. I really do try to go into
Yeah.
things like I do the same thing with. Look, I wanted to hate Green Lantern with Ryan Reynolds. As soon as I saw Ryan Reynolds casted as Green Lantern, I wanted to hate that movie. As soon as I saw the poster, as soon as I saw the trailer, I'm like, this is going to be garbage. When I saw it, it was garbage. So I don't know what my point was. My point is that I do try to go into things with an open mind, and even Green Lantern. And I remember getting drunk for that and still not liking it. This I didn't hate as much as Green Lantern, though. So that's kind of
No, yeah.
our review. I will say, this did have some nice practical effects. It had some beautiful scenes in here.
Yeah, I do appreciate that the dwarves in this, like, if I don't know if y'all remember the last Hobbit movie, The Battle of the Five Armies, but they made that one one final dwarf when the dwarves come to defend Thorin and they have the big battle. He didn't even look real. He looked completely CGI'd in the face. It wasn't like Gimli's makeup and everyone. It was like, I don't remember which dwarf it was. He was another one of the kings, but he looked very CGI'd. So I appreciated that everything here was a little bit more practical effect in the makeup department.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
the orcs and the goblins have never looked better. I think they looked really good with practical effects
Yeah.
and throwing in some CGI. The scenes are great. The actors were okay. I don't think any of them really.
Stood
Nori,
out.
maybe she was cute, and I have
She
a hard
reminds
time.
me of Elijah Wood with her big blue eyes
Yeah,
that always tear up. And I was like, oh, that's why they chose her, because she reminds me of Frodo, because he's always like, and his eyes are always crying.
yeah, I did. Maybe I do have a soft spot in my heart for hobbits. So I was like, oh, she's cute, and her friends are cute, and they're all a nice village. So I guess they. But Galadriel had a hard time understanding like why she is the way that she is,
Yeah.
and I realized that this is also
An
a
adaptation.
long time
Yeah.
before we get
Thousands. Yeah.
Lady Galadriel in Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, but it just feels like she's so different. And the drive, I don't even understand the drive. When I mentioned this, I think in our first episode review about losing her brother, like
Yeah.
everybody lost somebody though. Like, is that
Yeah.
enough of a drive to keep you angry for all this time? Like,
Yeah, and for elves, they mention all the time where, I mean, Thranduil's mentioned it before, where it's, years are just a drop in the hat for them. So, you know, grieving over someone like that with vengeance does seem very un-elf like. That's what I had a big problem with her
mhm.
character. especially going into it. And by the end of it, she said she felt like she wasn't worthy of the Undying Lands, and that's why she jumped. Not because she had unfinished business, which is what I thought is why she jumped, but it's because she felt like she wasn't worthy for the Undying Lands. So that's a different. It's like they changed her motivation like somewhere through this. I don't know. It felt weird to me, but I did like Elrond and Durin's little friendship. But it is weird because you really
but they stayed in that one place. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're fine.
It's a little harder to do when you're not beside me and we're streaming. It felt like they were in that damn mine for like 7 episodes. And they kept going back and forth with we have the mithril, let me get my dad's permission. And in between that, we had another episode of something bad happening to Nori and the stranger.
Yeah.
And then the dad's like, no. And he's like, okay, dad said no. Then his wife's like, do you want to listen to your... And all of this is happening, right? Instead of happening in all sequential, like in one episode, all this happens in a series of different episodes. So I'm losing interest, and I'm like, how long are they going to be in this damn mine, like digging for this mithril, and what exactly is this going to do? Yeah,
exactly. Until we get the Balrog. Yeah, and I think that's the big problem. I don't understand why they wanted to do the 5 seasons, and why they're saying this it's a 5-season story. They could have condensed it just as a mini series or a limited series to tell us the story of the power. Go ahead.
Hold on one second. I haven't seen this guy in a long time. Oscaria Aurala, how is it going, dude? The amount of backlash is also explained by the terrible fact that because of the internet and social media, the bigoted members of the audience now have more ways to spread their awful views. I definitely think that there's a lot of that, right? I mean, I'm not downplaying the fact that there people weren't hating on it because they see a black woman or whatever. But there definitely is a lot of people that just like Lord of the Rings that did not enjoy the show. I'm not saying that wasn't there, because I mean, obviously it was getting a lot of hate because of that, but also people that are purists and love the stories don't, I get it. I'm territorial when it comes to X-Men. Lord knows how they're going to treat that.
Well, like I wouldn't want someone to come in and ghost write and try to write more Tolkien, stories after, even though he's passed away.
They did in the books, right? Like they did like War of the Kings, and they did like his son Christopher Tolkien wrote some stories following his father's footsteps.
Yeah.
It is one of those things. Once the writer is gone, how do you treat it? But then you got like Robert Jordan that passed away before he finished Wheel of Time, and you had Brando Sando come in and save the day.
Which he'll probably do with George R. R. Martin too at some point. Who knows?
See, there it is. If I don't like it, I'm a bigot. No, that's not what he's saying. Like, I think there are genuine people that don't like it. It doesn't make you a bigot. It just makes you that not like a story. Because I was not the biggest fan of this. I appreciate a lot of it and what it did, but oh my gosh, getting there, it was so slow and painful.
Yeah, I hope that by next season they tighten up the story and do more to show us these characters instead of telling us about the characters. Let us come to love Galadriel for who she is, and
do you
hate Halbrand or Sauron like as we're supposed to hate him, like, or not care for him. I don't know if they're gonna try to make him a complex villain, but that's weird. Sauron, he wasn't complex in the Lord of the Rings. He was just
I wanted to see more eagles and dragons fighting. I wanted to see this world before
men really took over.
Yeah, and what I got was a bunch of men talking
everywhere,
which is Lord of the Rings. I mean, let's face it, right? There's a lot of talking and walking in Lord of the Ring.
Well, and I would like to see more fellowship. I mean, that's one of the great things about both the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. Yeah, we will, but we're not there yet.
It's just weird to see that happening 7.5 hours in, and I love, the only Lord of the Rings that gets watched in this house is the director's cut. So we're talking about 10 hours worth of material there. Like, I don't think I've seen the theatrical cut since it left the movie theater. So let me see. What did you enjoy about this season? I talked about the things I like. What did you like about this season?
Sure. Well, I think what I by the end of it, what I did enjoy was, like I said, seeing Numenor, meeting Elendil and Isildur, even though Isildur's motivation stuff is a little wonky, but I can appreciate that hopefully we're gonna get to see their stories play out as this progresses. So I was really excited for Numenor. I thought that was beautiful, the whole city. I found the queen quite intriguing as well, or the queen regent, because she's not queen yet. But I thought she was a very intriguing character. I liked her more than I liked Galadriel, if that was possible. And I didn't like Elrond's haircut, but I do like the actor. And so I didn't like his haircut. I hope his hair gets longer by next season. But I do like the actor who plays Elrond, and I liked his relationship with Durin. So those are some of the things I did like. The Southlands storyline, I don't know how I feel about the Southlands storyline.
That's the one with the human and the elf and the sun, and the sword. That was a little confusing to me with the sword and what it was supposed to represent, what it was supposed to do, and when it was. I feel like they kind of MacGuffin that.
It is a MacGuffin, right? I hate
that. I mean, they never explained it. Not that they need to, because we are talking about magical times. But apparently, it opens up this portal to make a new home for Sauron when he awakens.
It's like, yeah,
is that why we were after the sword?
I don't know. It was like so who created this elaborate dam opening thing, mechanism to create Mordor? Who did that? Was it Sauron? Was it Adar? But how does Adar know when that sword's been hidden underneath that guy's barn for God knows how long? And he didn't even know Adar was there. So I don't even. That's a weird story.
I did like that. That was cool when she's like, have we, when the Queen Regent says, have we left the white? What did she say? Something about the smoke, the cloudy area, because she realizes she's losing her eyesight. I thought that was a nice little touch. Yeah. What else did you enjoy? I'm sorry.
No. I mean, that's pretty much in a nutshell. That's what I enjoyed the most.
Did you like any particular characters? Did any of them like?
Well, like I said,
you had a poster of Legolas. Let's get that out there. Would you have had a poster of?
Well, Amy liked Legolas, first of all.
My bad.
My sister, we shared a room. She had a poster of Legolas. I honestly was kind of into Frodo. That's a weird.
Not Aragorn. Frodo. Okay.
No. Oh man! After those movies came out, I watched so much Elijah Wood movies. It's kind of funny.
I believe you.
Which most of them he's a child actor, so that's weird. Because
we don't need to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, right. So anyway, but I really did enjoy Queen Regent Muriel. I do like the actor who plays Elendil as well. He reminds me more of Aragon-esque. Even though I think they were trying to trick us and thinking that Halbrand was going to be like an Aragorn type of character. He's not. But I guess it makes sense that, it just shows you that someone like Aragorn or Isildur could turn on the dime if they wanted to. That's, anyway. So I did like those two characters. And like I said, I liked the relationship between Durin and Elrond when they were together, and just that male bonding relationship that Tolkien's known for in all of his stuff. That's what is so great about a lot of his.
He brought that in from his personal life too.
Oh yeah, from World War I and all that. So I enjoyed that part of it. Those are things that stood out to me. Those are actors that stood out to me just for those particular reasons. So not the old dying king, that's for sure. Maybe Farazan next season will be.
It will be interesting where they go, honestly, from here, because I want to see where, are they going to time jump? I don't think they're going to, because we're going to follow these stories, right? These characters with the stories and where they go and the coming of Sauron.
Well, they're already condensing the time as it is, because even the stuff that we see, like the creation of the rings and everything along those lines, happens over a good deal of time. It's not like it happens within months. Well, so did Lord of the Rings, honestly, too, in the books, but they're movies, so they're going to condense it. They did change up. I will be interested to see what happens, because we have the rest of the rings need to be created, but they were created first before the Elven Rings, so they're already changing the lore in that regards as well.
And then the One Ring.
Yeah, well, that has to be created.
It is called the Rings of Power. So, things you could have done without. What did you not like completely hated about this? You don't have to talk about that. Because I'll tell you right now, the music was completely unforgettable. I did not like it. I
Yeah.
think it was Howard Shore. Did Howard Shore do the
Yes,
music?
Howard Shore did the music. But I was a little worried when he even reused a lot of the original Lord of the Rings scores in The Hobbit, and some of them in the most weirdest of times. Like, he used the ring race theme when Thorin battles the white orc the first time in Fellowship. I'm like, that's the ring race theme. Why are you using it for him to battle an orc? But yeah, he tried new stuff, and it just wasn't. The music was okay. I didn't see anything that was remembering that I would remember. But for me, honestly, we could have been introduced to the Ishtar a different way than the Hobbits. I mean, there's a reason why Jackson decided to show just the Shire and everything like that in the beginning and then the end, but that's not really the cusp of the adventure, right? The bigger world that we want to talk about with what's going on. And I don't know, I could have done without the Harfoots, I guess. That was them in the Southland, the love interest between Bronwyn and Arondir. We don't need any more elf and human love stories. There are only so many in the history of Tolkien. They talk about it all the time in the books. And it's just like Beren and Luthien, right? And then, of course, Arwen and Aragorn. We don't need a constant amount of love stories. I mean, I love it, but I don't need it. I don't need it.
You do. You just need, you got to bring a different audience in.
Why couldn't it be like Elrond and like Galadriel's daughter, like it is in the books? There's a love story for me.
I think Howard Shore only composed the main title. Right. Most of the score was composed by Bear McCreary, I believe. Thank you, man. It wasn't that it was horrible. It wasn't memorable. But now you bring back The Hobbit, and I'm like, I don't think there was anything in The Hobbit that I enjoyed except for, was it Billy Boyd's song?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
In The Hobbit? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the biggest flaw to me here was, I think, the dialogue and the writing. I think the actors were fine, but with what they had to work with, I think they were very limited, and it may look like wooden acting.
Yeah.
But I feel like, I mean, if George Lucas was writing a script, all those characters would have looked wooden too. So
yeah.
But it felt like it was written by so many different people, rewritten. And I think Nikki said it best. It felt like they fired
the writing staff halfway through, and then
yeah, it feels like every episode they fired the writing staff, and they hired new writing staff. It did feel like that because a lot of the characters were inconsistent. So the actors were just doing whatever they were directed to do. But the writing and the story were just bad. It did pick up for me towards the end of the battle. Episode 8, it's kind of what I've been wanting to watch the whole season. Kind of these stories coming together and something happening. And even though we knew it was gonna come, and it just
Mm-hmm.
a long time to get there, and it feels so weird. So rating time out of 10, Panda.
Mm-hmm.
Lord of the Rings TV show. Let's say that again. Your first Lord of the Rings live action TV show.
I know. Too bad it's not. They should have just put Leonard Nimoy, the Ballad of Bilbo Baggins there.
You can't come back. Spoilers. What would you give this out of 10?
Yeah. So
Lord of the Rings TV show.
So after thinking about this, my rating, and then realizing I wish I could go back and amend my I don't know, my She-Hulk, because I disliked She-Hulk more than this show. And I think only because it's Lord of the Rings, I think is why. So I would probably give this.
Okay, hold on. Chris Davidson's breaking my heart. What? The Cobra Kai season 5 all the way at the end?
Crap. Don't you even.
Come on, man.
Did you not see that final scene? That final fight when Miguel steps in and kicks Kenny's freaking A. What?
Amanda, stay on target.
I'm just sorry. Anyways, so if I have to, so I want to amend my She-Hulk rating so that I can make this rating make sense. I want to amend my She-Hulk rating to like a 5 out of 10, but I want to give this a 6 out of 10 because yes. Okay. But I'm amending my She-Hulk rating because after further thought, yes. So that's my sorry. I had to amend a rating for a previous episode in order to give this one a proper rating.
I think this is this one's hard to rate because the episodes that I did enjoy, they weren't everything, but they were kind of enjoyable. The first episode gave me a little bit of hope, but I was like, please let the dialogue get better. And unfortunately it didn't. So for me, it's a fantasy story. Holy crap. We have a Lord of the Rings TV show. So maybe that brings it up a little bit, but a 5 out of 10, I think it's a fair rating. 5 because there was a lot of love that went into making the costumes, making the sets. And it's like, holy crap, how do you have so much money and not give us something a little bit better? And it's one of those cases, like, I feel spoiled because as a fan, do I deserve better? And then I'm like, no, yeah, I do. I've waited years for this.
Yeah. You know how I feel about when they talk about studios when it comes to movies and what they've been doing with these adaptations, dragging them out, right? Like Harry Potter couldn't just be 7 movies, it had to be 8 because they had to make that last one into 2 movies. They had to make The Hobbit into 3, and it's a children's book, vastly different than Lord of the Rings, but they basically made it Lord of the Rings. Mm-hmm. They thought people wouldn't watch The Hobbit as a children's, like as what it was, which I would have watched a Guillermo del Toro one-shot Hobbit story. Yes, exactly. It would have been great. And I feel like that's what Amazon did with their money on this one. They think they can, they're like, we know people love Lord of the Rings, let's drag it out. So therefore you have to drag the story out. And then you're creating all this unnecessary fluff that creates the issues we're seeing in the writing. If they made it shorter and they really just stuck to the essence of the story, we probably wouldn't be saying the same things right now, I think, that we were saying. I mean, yeah. Why is everyone so greedy in Hollywood?
Well, I mean, it's money. I mean, at the end of the day, you have people that want to make this for the passion, and then you have people that are sitting around cashing in that have never read a book, a Lord of the Rings book, and don't care.
Exactly.
Because to them, it's all about making money. I mean, it's the same thing with comics. It's the same thing with TV shows, and we have to extend these things and make them longer. Yeah, so 5 out of 10 and a 6 out of 10, and everybody else, some people really enjoyed it, and some people not fans at all.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be interested. That's how I felt with Wheel of Time, though. And I almost felt like if you were to put a episode or like a scene from Wheel of Time and Rings of Power, my fear is that no one would be able to tell the difference if you've never seen either show before.
See, I had read the first few books of Wheel of Time, and I had never watched the show because I honestly forgot it existed. Did that show get picked up again?
Yeah, I think so. I thought they had a panel at either San Diego or New York Comic Con. I don't remember which one, where they talked about Wheel of Time season 2.
Let's see. I say again, we don't know what happened behind the scenes. New Zealand COVID could have changed things during production. Yeah, New Zealand was one of those countries that was just shut
down. Yeah.
I'd rather reread the Silmarillion. This show will put me to sleep faster. I don't know about that one. I thought about that because
I fall asleep to Silmarillion every night, and I just go back and to read the chapters.
Like, even if Morgan Freeman was reading or James Earl Jones was reading the Silmarillion to me, I think I would fall asleep. I read that book in high school, and I remember
Omar Godfrey read it to you, which is
he passed away, so he
I know.
What is with you and Leonard Nimoy and Gilbert Godfrey? Let the man rest.
Hypothetically, if he was
8 out of 10, I'd rather. How would they spend so much money and get one quasi A-list name in the cast? That is just awful. Because I think they focus more on the sets and they focus more on the like the details and the designs of the clothing and all that.
Is it killing me that I don't know who the quasi A-list name is that he's talking about?
I don't
Crap.
know. I figured you would know. Is he talking about
No,
the guy that
but here's
played?
the point. I mean, even House of the Dragon got Matt Smith and they got Matt Smith
Is
and
Matt Smith really a
Rice
quasi
and Reese
A?
Ifans or Ifans. The guy from Love Actually, then every other movie that why do I only name that one? But you know what I mean. Yeah, they got a couple of names in House of the Dragon. They still had to spend money on dragons.
Okay, well, give us a second. We'll talk about that here in a second. You guys seen Halloween Ends? That's a 5 out of 10 for me so
Not
far.
yet. I'm gonna
I'll
watch it on
be
TikTok.
dead honest with you. I did not like the remake of Halloween, and I'm the only one in my family that actually finished Halloween Kills because I'm an idiot and have to finish movies that I start. That movie was atrocious. And if you're saying that this is worse than Halloween Kills, then I cannot not wait to watch it.
I hear it's don't go in expecting what you think is
I
gonna.
gave it a 5 out of 10, Ryan. Quit taking words out of my mouth. That's not liking something. That's acknowledging the fact that people got together to make something.
Yes.
Now, again, if you're liking this, more power to you. We are very blessed that we have a Lord of the Rings TV show, despite of how you feel about this, a Game of Thrones TV show, and a Willow follow-up, like all in the same year. That is insane.
Yeah.
Right, so people are liking Halloween Ends. Okay.
I will watch it.
Watch
Halloween Kills on Peacock because I watched Halloween Kills while I was recovering from a C-section, and I was like, this sounds like a good thing to watch when I'm like, half asleep because I'm nursing a newborn.
Hey. Rings of Power got that actor from the last season of Spartacus. Then I really don't know. Is it the guy that or I'm sorry, the lady that played Galadriel? I thought she was famous.
Morfydd Clark, not to me, not here. I mean, not like I've never seen her in anything else in any American films, but maybe I don't know. I'm gonna look her up because I don't know. But I know for sure, like that's yeah.
Halloween trilogy as a whole is actually pretty good. A deep meaning for each movie. I recommend watching Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, and Ends in one go. Here, man, here's the thing. There's only one Halloween trilogy, and it's Halloween 1, Halloween 2, and Halloween 4. That's the Halloween trilogy. I went there. I said it. I'm sorry. I apologize. That might be the beard talking. But I'm just being honest. I do love Halloween 4. I love Halloween 4. And there was an unrated version, too. House of the Dragon. That's what we're going to talk about next. All right. So 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10. This show got picked up for a second season, right?
Well, obviously.
Power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When is that season premiering?
I think we have to wait like 2 years until that comes out. They already started. They started filming not too long ago. This month they started filming for season 2.
I was having such a good day, Woke NATO. Why are you destroying my childhood?
That's gonna be interesting.
This means apparently remaking Neverending Story too. No, stop it, guys. Please stop.
Yeah, it's gonna be 2 years. I mean, if you think about it, they start production. Really? They've started production this month, and then they have to do the editing. It'll come out sometime in 2024. But so is House of the Dragon. They're pretty much on the same schedule in that respect.
They're doing all 5 seasons. Imagine spending $1 billion on this show. I think most on a show. This is the most expensive TV show. I think we talked about that.
Yeah, we did.
And I think
we've been talking about this since when they first bought the rights.
And I think that's where most of the money went, right? Like buying the rights, because holy crap, everybody wants to buy that up. And the House of the Dragon, we have to wait 2 years for that?
Yeah, 2024. I was going to say, that's
2023 is going to be a dry spell, man.
Are we going to watch in 2023? I guess more Marvel shows.
I tell you what, the hell, I'm going to be watching Cobra Kai season 6, baby.
Are they doing that? Because that's
damn
awesome.
Right, they better be doing it.
I'll be watching that.
Crazy if they don't. All right. Did they spend? That's what we joked about earlier, Ryan. The writers.
Yeah, that's what I think. Like production wise, like when they talk about it being shut down for COVID and stuff, I like the production value, things like that. I don't think really took a hit, but it's the writing, which I mean, Google Drive exists, So people can still be writing during a shutdown. What? I'm just saying you could be writing together during a shutdown. It's like writing is not a hard thing. That's what I do for a living on the internet, or not the internet, but I do it remote. So I know it's possible to simultaneously work on something with other people.
Yes, most people work like that. Most people do that, Amanda. That's
Okay.
not new. That's not special to you. What's up, Jack Barry? Have you been? Yes, I don't include Halloween 3. Thank you for the super chat, my brother. I love Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, and this is the hill I'll fight you and die on. I'm not kidding. I love Halloween 3 as well. But to me, when I think of Halloween, of course, I think of Michael Myers. I appreciate what they tried to do with Halloween 3. Unfortunately, it didn't work. So by the time Halloween 4 came around, we went back to the story of Halloween with Michael Myers. And honestly, to me, that's where that franchise ended. Like Halloween Water, this new Halloween that everybody, and people love it. Wasn't there a Rob Zombie Halloween too? That was just, yeah, people loved that when that was coming out. And then the sequel kind of killed it for everybody. But yeah, where the hell was I? Oh yeah, House of the Dragon time. So we're going to be talking about House of the Dragon. I'm going to change up the background here. And this is episode, what episode are we talking about, Amanda?
We're talking about, well, technically we didn't do episodes. We haven't reviewed since they became adults. So episodes 6, 7, and 8, or 8, 9, and 10, 8 and 9, 6, 7, and 8. What episode is this? 9. So 7, 8, and 9. Maybe that's where we're at. 7, 8, and 9, somewhere around there. We haven't had the chance to review, but but obviously we'll talk about as a whole and what culminates in episode 9, which had no Team Black at all. Spoilers.
Is that what we're calling them, Team Black? I like Team.
So in the books, they're called the Greens and the Blacks because of the greens and black power colors, and then black is traditionally Targaryen. Which, remember, that's what Dany wears in that final season, though I think they're trying to make some...
Just in case you have not seen House of the Dragon, everybody take care, and we'll see you next time when you catch up. So we will, we'll definitely talk about House of the Dragon with spoilers, so please. If you have not seen House of the Dragon,
I got to spoil the jump
share.
I got to spoil right there.
What is wrong with you? This is why I get demonetized. What is that?
That's just some dragon feet.
That did not look like feet.
I know.
How is it that Jonathan Hickman can't get a pilot or script produced despite trying many times and all this dreck gets made? Here's something even crazier, Pioneer, that something people don't talk about. There are people, lots of people, getting paid millions of dollars every year because they have contracts to write something that never gets made. A case in point, the guy that wrote Avengers, I cannot remember his name, Zach something, I think, got paid. Didn't use any of his script. Joss Whedon and his team came in and rewrote everything.
Zach Penn,
I think is his name. Did not use any of his script. Got paid. Got a portion of that movie.
Wow.
That's the thing that blows my mind. There are people that get paid not to have TV shows made, but because they have contracts and I guess good representation, good agents, they still get paid. That's the thing that kills me. I'm like, all these people out there like trying to make, a pilot or something, trying to break it into Hollywood, never have a chance.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah. So yes, now House of the Dragons time. Let's kick it up a notch here. Let's talk about some feet.
So House of the Dragon episode 9. We finally get to the culmination of what all these time jumps and all of these revelations have finally led to, which of course is the death of Viserys, which we saw in the last episode, which was beautiful. And
I just say that guy,
Paddy Considine, if he doesn't get nominated for an Emmy, I will be very disappointed in the Emmy voters for not at least nominating him, because he's fantastic. And even the visual effects artist that made him look the way he did, like they made it, it's gross, but in a good way, that I'm like, they should be also nominated for that, because that's beautiful. I mean, the dragons are great too, but just that making him look so deteriorated. Oh, bless his heart.
And acting his like ass off.
I know.
So good. He's
I
a
know, and that
compassionate
my love
king.
section, that my love was a ad lib by him. Like some of the best moments of that episode were ad libbed. Like this is episode 8 we're talking about, but when Viserys comes in to defend his daughter, he like has all these other kids, but this kid, by his true love, Aima, he will defend her to the core. That he will get out of his bed in his opiate laden state to defend her, her name. And when he falls on the steps and his crown falls off, Matt Smith just went up like as Damon and put it on. It was not in the script, and they kept that scene,
Oh,
which
that was
is
nice.
beautiful scene. And yeah, that was completely improv, just like the My Love ending, which was gorgeous and sad. Yeah.
Dude, okay, that ending, which is the ending of episode 8, where he is revealing, who he really wants to take charge of, his kingdom when he dies. I was so confused until like the very last part. I had to put the captions on where I didn't realize he thought he was speaking to Rhaenyra. Like,
Yes. He thought it was
instead of
Rhaenyra
Allison. Dude,
because
holy
she was
crap.
giving him the poppy, so he was all drugged up and he was about to pass away, and he's talking about the prince that was promised. And of course, everyone has to. I think I saw a meme that said, all these things would be resolved if people just didn't name their kids Aegon all the time. Like if they just
It seems to be a very popular name.
Yeah.
But I was talking to you about this through text, but it was really interesting to see the effect of a king's dying wish left to only one person in the room, no one else hearing it, having a different effect than what happened in Game of Thrones with Ned.
Yeah.
Right? When King Baratheon was dying, and he was like, I want you to take over, until my kids are of age. And Ned was like, yeah, okay. And instead of him becoming the king, well, I assume everybody here has already seen Game of Thrones.
I hope so.
Did
Yeah.
not end the way that we thought it was going to end. This has the exact opposite. Oh, you want our son to be king? Sure, I'll tell everybody. And they were ready. And they've
been planning the whole time.
Dude, and that one guy was like, I will not stand for this. Like the old dude, he kept it real, man. Then he got his head smashed in by your boy.
Beesbury, the first casualty in the books and also in the show. Kristen Cole's the worst. There's no redeeming that man in my eyes.
And I like that dude. Like when he first appeared, I'm like, oh, dude,
I know, but I'm over him.
He had a taste of the dragon, and now he's gone nuts, man.
Yeah, he's nuts.
Like, he carried that grudge for a long time.
That's a damn shame. Yeah, it's an interesting twist. Like in the book, that when Martin describes this whole thing, it's basically Alicent forces her son to take the throne because she tells him that Rhaenyra will kill him if he does not. Like, so this is a little different the way they're doing it in the show, and I like that they're trying to show Alicent as she's still as a more complicated figure, and not that she wants her son to rule, but that she wants to protect her son, but she also still cares for Rhaenyra in some respects, and she truly thinks that this is what her dead husband wants. So they're trying to complicate her character and make her more complicated so that people don't just completely hate her, I guess, which they still do.
I don't know. I like that. I like a complex character.
Me too. Yeah.
That you see as someone who has it all together, that is in control. But then there are little things that let you, that she's being controlled the entire time, whether it was her father or who's the guy with the club foot?
Larry Strong.
Yeah. Whether it's that dude that's manipulating her, or which I assume is going to be her son now manipulating her.
Yep.
It feels like this is what I love about the show. The show has strong characters that I really enjoy. This, and I'm sorry, Chris, I think was talking about, I love House of the Dragon. Huge time jumps. That is the one negative thing I can say about the show. Have taken me out of the show multiple times. All these new actors have me playing catch up with who's who again. I agree with that. The time jumps always bothered me too. Like, I really like Millie
Alcock.
Yeah. But this new the actress is playing the character of Rhaenyra. I think they're doing an amazing
Emily
job.
D'Arcy. Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they're freaking killing it. That wig just does something to me, man. That white
Yeah.
wig. Oof.
I agree with Chris because it's not just the characters aging up, but they'll introduce a new character that has a very integral part of the plot for like that episode. For example, they've introduced they introduced Harwin Strong in like at the wedding, but he didn't do much and it was very quick. And then all of a sudden he plays a major role in the next episode and he dies in that same episode. So he's only there. And then this episode, for example, in the last episode, in episode 8, we're introduced to the twins who both are named Eric, the two knights, the gold cloaks, Eric and Eric. And we're all of a sudden supposed to delineate between the two of them because one decides that he can't go along with the treason and helps Rhaenyra escapes and leaves and takes the crown to Rhaenyra in the next episode. The other one stays behind because he protects and takes care of the king, the now king, Aegon. So it's also we have to care for and understand the motives between these two brothers. We only met one of them last episode, and now we know both of them, and they have the same name.
and that's what I was hoping that they would have like find a perfect mix of Game of Thrones in this. It's like, okay, slow down. I really like this character. Let me get to know them. So there's first of all, you have the size of Game of Thrones season 1, so that many characters, but you don't have that time to develop. Again, we go from season 1 of Game of Thrones where it took them 3 episodes to get from Winterfell to King's Landing, and now it's like, oh yeah, 5 years have passed. These are the babies now. They're grown men. This has happened. This character died off screen. Like, that surprised me about her. Was it her husband, the queen that never was?
Well, we don't know if Corlys is dead.
Oh, okay. No spoilers.
He's dead. They assume he's dead because they haven't heard from him, but we don't know if he's dead.
Thank you for the super chat, Jack Ferry. Rest in peace, King Viserys Targaryen, first of his name, King of Andals. First of men, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms and Protector of the Realm. Man, who gets introduced like that? Like,
yeah,
that's great. Awesome. But this episode, like the previous episodes, I feel like how do I describe this show? It's a show to sell on somebody. You know, Game of Thrones like Game of Thrones was an easy sell. It's like, how do I sell this to my nerdy friends? It's like, hey, it's got dragons and like zombies, right? Like, and they're like, oh. And then like everybody else, everybody's got boobies and lots of sex, sold. But this is like, it's so boring, but so interesting. Like, it's
all about the politics that we see a little bit in Game of Thrones here and there with certain characters, but we're really seeing it in this show because this is a very microscopic look of Westeros. We don't travel to the north. We've barely seen any of the other houses. We see glimpses of them, right? But it's just mainly the Targaryens and those very close to them. Freaking Jason Lannister still hanging out over there.
Yeah, this show is a little harder to sell because it's not action packed, and when there is action, holy crap, it's amazing. That dragon scene at the end of this. First of all, I did not read the books, so I didn't see that coming because I was like, where did she go? Oh, she went to get the dragon. Oh my gosh, is she gonna kill them? And I'm sure that act of mercy, by the way, is going to come into play later. Kind of like anytime somebody ever gave mercy in Game of Thrones, they regretted it seasons later. Like, oh, you should have gutted that character. Jarring when some characters age a number of years and others who should also look much older, like Kristen Cole,
or
doesn't
Matt
look a day older.
Damon,
just because he's from, what is he from? Like, he's
Dorne. What about Matt Smith? He's a Targaryen. He looks down
They always look old because they have white wigs on.
Yeah. Is it gray or is it just all white? Does that happen?
Yeah. So this is a very boring, but I'm loving it. I'm loving
Josh, you're right. That the dragon scene wasn't in the books. That is something that
that scene was badass.
It was a good thing. It was a good addition. I think it shows for Rhaenyra, the queen that never was, it just shows that where her loyalties lie, but she still has that compassion for Alicent as a mother or as a woman who's trying to get power. I'm trying to be.
It is hard to read these characters. I love it
Yes.
because I will tell you an example of like maybe I like this show because of this reason. When they went to kill Rhaenyra, like her husband, not
Yes.
when the plan was to kill him, I thought they were in on killing him. I
Yeah.
didn't realize they were in on no, no, no. We're not going to kill him. We're going to like pretend. They're obviously going to. They're not good people, right? They still
No.
killed somebody and
Yeah.
burned them,
We don't know who it is, but
but it
yeah.
wasn't him. That's when I was like, "Holy crap! You can't trust anybody on this show." And when I found out that they let him live, but were they in on that? Were both of them in on that? And I don't think that was ever touched upon.
No, but they didn't have time to touch upon it. It was we're supposed to, I guess, glean what we will from it. Obviously, I'm assuming they both were in on it because Rhaenyra doesn't have anything against Laenor. She cared for him. They just
Right. I mean, obviously.
A could never procreate because she said it's not like for lack of trying. He's probably impotent, so he couldn't do it. And he was shooting blanks probably. And so there we go. It happened.
Oh. I thought
They tried. She said they tried. It wasn't like they didn't try. It just never happened.
That wasn't in the books either. I feel like that needs to be a T-shirt for this show.
Yeah.
Not for the dragon. That wasn't in the books either.
Yes, but
this is motherhood. Burn those creepy kids. These creepy kids are gonna come after him. I cannot wait to see where this ends and where it goes.
I do like they do play the same theme that you kind of got with where Daemon takes Rhaenyra when she was still a child, a teenager, and they go for their little rendezvous. You still kind of get that same very dark and foreboding theme playing throughout this as well, especially when Aemon, who should be king, I guess, so if you had to pick one of the brothers, and Kristen are on the hunt and play a game of chase with Otto Hightower and the Sir Eric's to find Aegon first as they go and descend into the city. I really love that. But getting to see what Westeros or what King's Landing really is with the children and
there's a lot of smart writing in this show that I really enjoy. Kind of reminds me a little bit of like West Wing, like that type of show, but of course with dragons.
I don't know if it's so much Andy Sorkin. I don't think it's a lot of Andy I see Aaron Sorkin.
Aaron Sorkin, thank you.
Aaron Sorkin's. He would say Andy Serkis,
but it does have that. Like, to me, it has that kind of feel to it. Like when they're around talking around the table, backstabbing each other. I enjoy that.
Yeah.
So yeah, Alicent, and the thing that's on the thumbnail that we put on our thumbnail. That scene surprised me. Because I didn't know the relationship was going to go there. Not that there is one, but I thought it was more of she has something to gain by having this guy that will do all the weird, evil, sleazy things for her that she doesn't even want to think about.
And I thought for him, it was enough to be able to work for the queen to have that power. I didn't realize that he was also going to somehow get his own power from her. And, Renee has said it best. I think that's what was great about this whole episode is it really focuses on Alicent, who we haven't really focused on her character, like as a character a whole lot. We get to see bits and pieces, but this focuses on her whole life since she was a young girl. These men have been telling her or been kind of directing her life, and she's been at the mercy of them. And even now, she seems to be at the mercy of the only man she doesn't seem to be really at the mercy of is Kristen Cole, but because he seems so dedicated to her. And I don't know if there's anything going on with them, but now there's a power play with her and Larys, and he has the upper hand. How does she let him have the upper hand? She's the queen. He's a club-footed, strong, and who I guess has hair and all, but that's it. Like how did she let him get the power in that relationship? And of course, you're that's gonna happen to her and her son.
That's where the show benefits from the time jumps. Because I mean, we obviously had that there was a deep relationship between Rhaenyra and Kristen.
Yes.
That we didn't see. And something happened here where, like you said, he got the upper hand.
Mhm.
And obviously, the club foot, he's in defeat. There's a lot of things here. Yeah, I
Mhm.
wasn't expecting that. I'll be honest. I was like, oh, I thought she was a little more in control than this, and no loss of respect for the queen. I think you got to do what you got to do to protect the
True.
mankind. So whatever.
But could you see Cersei doing that? Well, by season 8, I could because she did go and, have sex with what's his name?
I
The
was
prince
gonna say, I mean,
of Iron
she's
Island.
it's. I mean, how do I put this? Oh my gosh. It's still like she's in control though, because it's feet, right? And
True. It's
to
just
her to make oh man, I don't know how to beat around the bush here. To It's a very powerful move, like, for her to do that, and him. Like, she's still in control of what he has from her. Honestly, I see it's almost like a power play, like, in, I don't know if people are allowed to talk about House of Cards, but House of Cards with,
Yes, you could talk about
uh,
House of Cards.
the character of Princess Buttercup. I cannot remember her name, the
Oh,
first
Robin
lady.
Penn?
Yeah, the first lady. I can't remember the character's
Robin
name.
Wright Penn.
When she does that thing to the guy that's dying of, like, in the deathbed, and she,
Oh, yeah.
helps him out because she was manipulating him. I mean, total power move. So,
Mhm.
the Tarantino produced. I knew the Tarantino jokes were gonna be
Oh,
there.
the Tarantino jokes are going hard.
I'm sure they are. I
Yeah.
haven't seen any memes. I love the Fiona. Thank you again for the super chat,
Yeah,
Jack
thank you,
Derrick.
Blackberry.
I love the Fiona Apple song in the ROP season finale. The Rings of Power. She did a song in that
She did that song? That was Fiona Apple? I didn't know that.
about
But
the ring.
now that I'm thinking about the voice, I did think that voice is very distinct. Yeah, I'll have to go back and listen to it now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a while since
I did. I did
yeah,
not notice.
neither did I. I did not know that
Barrett
either.
set up Allison with strong murders and how he has power over her. I think she's still in control.
I
Because I mean, at
don't.
any time she could have this guy killed off.
Could she though?
Absolutely, she could.
I
She's
feel like
queen.
he has more control in this whole
Well, I mean,
circumstance.
it's never that easy, but I
No,
mean,
it's never that easy. No.
it's something that seems innocent to her, but then realizing what it means, she's regretting. I mean, you could tell by the actress's face, right? Like the way she reacted to that.
Yeah. So with the time jumps, are there any actors that are standing out to you that are now like the new actors that are coming in? Obviously, all the boys have aged up, and girls, because I can't forget about Helena, which is Aegon's sister wife. So
Oh
they've
god.
all,
Yeah.
yeah.
None of the kids are really standing out except for the guy with the eye patch.
Amen. Yep.
Yeah, that dude, he is
Yes. And for those of you who are Last Kingdom fans, that is Baby Monk from Last Kingdom. I was very excited when I
that
realized that.
that
Because
dude is
you know,
killer.
you want to talk about it's not fantasy, it's more historical fiction, but man, what a great show.
Okay. That dude is freaking creepy. Like the way he plays that character.
Oh, I
Like
love it.
I don't know where he's gonna go, and he's only got one eye, so he's
He's
kind of hard.
almost crazier than Damon. Like,
Oh yeah,
but I think it makes sense because Damon's now it's supposed to be in getting in his old age, right? He's an older man. Aemon is
he's a
young.
little more calm. He's a little more calm.
He's had some kids, several kids. Yeah.
Has some kids, has seen a lot of loved ones go, and yeah, he's crazy and like almost like your wild card. You don't know what he means, and you don't know where exactly he's gonna
Hmm.
go. Yeah, I don't know about that dude. Oh my gosh, it's hard to pick which actor or actress I preferred with Rhaenyra, like
Oh yeah.
because both of them are killer. But who's the actress portraying Rhaenyra right now?
Emily D'Arcy.
Dude, killing it. Both her and Allison. The
Oh,
actress,
Olivia Cook. Yes.
amazing. Oh, amazing. Both of
Yes.
them great. It's really good. I really like this. So, anything else before we review these last episodes setting up the finale?
I know. Same with the finale. No, I mean, overall, this show, the time jumps, while they can be jarring for me, it's not about the aging up, but it's about the new characters that are introduced. But other than that, I am enjoying this show immensely. The writing is fairly strong in this show. I love the direction in a lot of the episodes. I think it's well done. And they just keep introducing those dragons, baby. I can't wait to see them all fight next season. It's gonna be awesome.
That's got to be coming. So
yeah. Wasn't called the Dance of the Dragons for nothing.
what is called that? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So for me, yeah, I cannot wait till the last episode of the first season. I can't wait to see what happens in season 2. As far as this show so far, it's been killing it. I'm enjoying it. Like I said, boring, but I've come to expect it and loved it. And man, when there's action, it's so awesome, and it's so like it just grabs me. I love it. So for me, 9 out of 10 so far. Like this whole season, 9 out of 10. It's been great. I can't wait to see the finale. Good to be back in Westeros.
Yeah.
What about you,
I would
Ben?
say 9 out of 10 as well. I'm gonna, it would be a near perfect 10 out of 10, but I want to save myself for the finale and see how the whole season ties together. But I have high expectations for it. So don't let me down. Ryan Condal and Miguel Sapochnik.
That doesn't sound like you know who you're talking about.
I do. I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, that pronounces his last name that well.
Yeah, I can't wait to see where this goes. They could definitely use some real sets, though. I miss those from the original Game of Thrones.
It's a shame that we're having so much of that CGI'd. And I know that, again, they also were affected by COVID. The production were shut down because of COVID. So they also had those issues. I can see why they would then turn to using more CGI'd sets where they can have more control over where they're filming and what they're doing because of what's going on. Maybe next season will be different because we don't have these, as many restrictions anymore. Things have been lifted. And, honestly, what's great about shooting like in a location and stuff is you're not only benefiting us as the viewers, but you benefit wherever that location is, the economy there, the jobs that you're bringing into that area just by filming there. That's why films get so many, subsidies and stuff from states and countries to come and film in their locations. So it would be nice to see them try to film on location again.
Yeah.
We'll see what they're going to do. Yeah.
All right. So 9 out of 10. Anybody else? Okay. Just a heads up, Emma Darcy.
Yes.
Yeah, I knew that, and that's why I was trying. So, but is it still? It's still actress, right? Or is it actor? I need to ask you because I don't know that one. I'm 44 years old and I'm learning.
Choose actor because it could be
okay,
man or woman.
Thank you.
Or anyone.
Thank you. Yeah. So when are we gonna do our Black Adam review? When are we gonna do our House of the Dragon season review roundup?
Yeah, we're gonna have to. We might do House of the Dragon when. We might have to do it like on Monday or something like that right after it comes out, maybe. Or because I don't want to do them both on the same day, but we both have to actually go see Black Adam, and Omar is going to be doing stuff this weekend. I mean, I will be too. I got a birthday party and stuff I have to put together.
Yeah, but I got more important things. You're just doing a birthday party for your kid.
For my kids, yes. For my going to be 1-year-old. But Omar will be out of town, so
I have important business
to see Black Adam over the weekend. So we might have to do like a House of the Dragon first, and then the Black Adam on Wednesday.
Yeah, I'll see Black Adam on matinee or something next week or something. About Tuesday after Old Reader, New Reader, we do that.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
I just started watching Andor. I was in the middle of reviewing something editing something, and I started watching it. I was finishing.
I haven't seen tonight's episode though, or today's episode. I haven't seen it yet. So
4 episodes so far. How many episodes?
No, there's 6 episodes.
God bless 6 episodes. I was wrapping up the King. What's it called? The Mayor of Kingstown. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, I haven't seen the Black Adam yet, man.
No, I don't think it's available here until Thursday night, maybe for some advanced previews, screenings, or whatnot. But yeah, someone earlier had asked us about the reviews because the critical reviews have started to come in on Black Adam, and they are not positive. And now
Better than House,
Boyle
better
hit.
than Rings of Power.
I would think I don't know. I haven't looked at any of the reviews, honestly.
I don't know either. I don't know either. But we'll see. So thank you everyone for joining us. This was a lot of fun. Thank you, Amanda, for doing this. And hit that like button on the way out.
Yeah.
And Don is out, lady.
Awesome. All right. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And remember to follow us on all of our social media channels at NearMakeCon. Remember to check us out on Spreadshop for some great Near Make Edition merchandise. And also check us out on Patreon for $1 a month or more. You can support us and all that we do here on the show. And then last but not least, if it's classy and cool, it must be near mint. Good journey, everyone. And we'll see you next week for our wrap-ups of House of the Dragon and a nice Black Adam review. I don't know. It may not be that nice.
It's gonna be nice.
I don't know. We'll see.
I didn't know Omar had those early screening
We
connections.
wish he did.
Yeah, my early
That makes
screening
us a lot
connections are a pirate in a bay. That's my early screen connections. Bye, everybody.